It has been 3,286 days since the Canucks last hosted a playoff game in this building, so you know these towels are going to be in full effect in what has been a tradition here on the West Coast whenever the Canucks have managed to get into the playoffs. And as you'd expect, both teams are playing the underdog card. You heard Nashville head coach Andrew Brunette and a number of the players yesterday talking about that. They've seen the previews where many experts are predicting the Canucks to win this series, and Rick Tocchet was asked about that today. He says, yeah, we could be the underdogs too because nobody expected us to even be in the playoffs this year, let alone win the Pacific Division. And this marks a bit of a contrast between two teams. You know, when you look at how these teams have been built, Vancouver wound up defeating Nashville in all three meetings earlier this season. They outscored them 13-6 in those games, but all of them came before Christmas, and we certainly know that Nashville went on quite a run from mid-February through late March. They picked up points in 18 straight games, going 16-0-2 during that stretch. They took their foot off the gas a little bit after that. They're just 4-5-1 in their last 10 to close out the regular season. But both of these teams are led by incredible goaltenders. UC Saros has certainly returned to his spot amongst the league's top goaltenders, and Thatcher Demko is right there. And when you look at Saros and how much the Predators have really relied on him, he leads the NHL with 64 starts, and he also leads in terms of number of shots faced and second in terms of number of goals allowed. So he saved a lot, but he's had to deal with a lot of shots, so he's wound up letting in his fair share, but we certainly know how good he can be. And Thatcher Demko, who would have been a Vezina finalist had he not been injured, maybe will be one anyway. And when you look at Demko, over the years, people have suggested that maybe he's been overworked from time to time, and he took a forced 5-week rest period late in the season with his knee injury, but in the final two games that he did play, he looked very good, very sharp with his reads and timing. Both goaltenders will be the backbone of their respective teams. And then you look at the blue lines, and you look at Vancouver, led by Quinn Hughes and his partner Philip Hronek. On the other side, you've got Roman Josi, along with his partner Ryan Johansson. And when you look at Hughes, he led the league amongst defensemen in scoring with 92 points, but you might be surprised to know that since Christmas, Josi has actually got 10 more points than Hughes does during that stretch. So both of them have been playing at a very high level. Josi finished third amongst NHL defensemen in scoring. And then where many people might believe the Canucks have an edge is up front. Certainly Nashville's got a very, very dynamic top line with Ryan O'Reilly in the middle, Philip Forsberg and Gustav Nyquist on the wings. They're going to be a hard group for the Canucks to handle. But when you look at Vancouver and the way they're built, especially down the middle, they've got three fairly strong lines that can come at you, led by JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, and Elias Lindholm as well. Now, since he's come back into the lineup, that third line has been very good with Connor Garland and Dakota Joshua as well. So certainly the Canucks believe that that depth throughout their forward lines, especially down the middle, is going to help. We'll see what the power plays turn into here. Vancouver, their power play has been very up and down all season. Through it all, they managed to finish 11th. Meanwhile, Nashville's penalty kill is 22nd, so it might be the best place for the Canucks to get some consistency on their power play. Meanwhile, you look at Nashville, their power play is ranked second in the league, and offensively overall, they are second in the league since the All-Star break in terms of goals scored. So they get a lot of their mileage off the rush, which might be a good thing for Vancouver because they give up the fewest rush chances per game, just 5.2 per game, 4.9 per game only since the All-Star break, so it's got even better. And going back to the U2 incident, which allegedly turned Nashville's season around, we know that happened in mid-February. They were scheduled to take the team on an extra day in Vegas to the U2 concert. They decided not to do it, and it was a difficult thing. Andrew Brunette says he absolutely loves U2, but he had to take the chance. Hockey's more important. He needed to send a message, and Paul Stastny, one of his good friends, texted him afterwards and said, you missed a great concert. And interesting about that, Colton Sissons, who's from Vancouver, spent a lot of time coming to Canuck games as a youth. He was asked about this. Do you remember back in 2011 during the Canucks Stanley Cup run what they played for the Canucks intro music? The answer? A U2 song, When the Streets Have No Name. We'll see if they wind up doing that tonight when these two teams meet in round one of the first round of the playoffs.